Welcome back for String Methods, video number 2. In this video, we're going to continue talking about the methods that are provided in the Java Quick Reference and continue using the constructor that's provided in the Java Quick Reference. We're going to work on substring in this lesson and get ready to think about really getting Java to provide some specific solutions. Our focus is going to be on substring that returns a string, and you're going to want to come back and note var 1e13 when you go to Unit 4 and you're working on for loops so that you can really iterate through a string and extract one letter at a time. So here are the pieces of the Java Quick Reference that we're going to be focused on. Notice that we have two substring methods provided. Version A that I've denoted has two parameters, a from and a to, and I'm going to show you what that does. And version B has only a one parameter item, and this is called overloading. So we have two methods with the same name but a different signature in the syntax, then we call that overloaded. Java's going to know what we want it to do by how many items are provided in the parameter. So you might want to note this from and to, and you'll see how these work as we go through the anatomy and then the code. So here's an example of calling substring on our object word of the day. This is the two-parameter version of substring. We have a string, a method. The from is the first number, and the to. So we want Java to give us the data at our from to our to. So start with our from and go to our to in terms of indexing. So start at number 2 index and go to number 6. And here's the result that you would expect. Remember that C in computational was at index 0, and you can mentally do that counting. All right, option B is actually what this one would be for substring, is our overloaded version that only has the single parameter, and we want it to start at index 2 and take us all the way to the end of the length. So what we expect it to know to do is give us back our entire rest of the word. So here's a graphical illustration. When we created our new string object, word of the day, it was indexed out 0 to 12. When we call substring to 6, we're going to get from 2 all the way to the beginning of 6. It does not include 6. That means that substring is not inclusive, is how we would call that. Substring with a singular parameter is going to give us from that beginning index that we provide all the way to the end. So I want to practice this using an activity that I do in my classroom called Words in a Word. So I've got a little scenario set up for us over here on my camera. Here's our word computational. I've done a little bit of denoting things here. Here's our indexing. I started at the top. Remember that indexing begins at the beginning of the letter and it stops at the beginning of the next one. All right, so from this word computational, we can make many words from within it. So that's why I call this words in a word. So one of the words that we can make is the word pal, P-A-L. And we could do that by grabbing the item at index 3 and grabbing the AL from indexes 11 and 12. So we would do that by using the two different string methods. So here's what would happen. For the P, we need just the item at index 3. But how are we going to get just the 3? That's that var 1.13 essential knowledge statement. In order to get one letter, we have to call 3 to 4. Will give us our 3 because we're going to start at 3 and we stop at 4. Remember, it's non-inclusive. And then in order to get the AL, we can use that overloaded version – and we can just call the index 11 and it would do from 11 to the end of the word. Now, our word happens to be almost at the end. What we want is the AL, but if this thing went on for 1,000 characters, we would actually get many more if we wanted them. So how would we write this in code? To write this in syntax, we could do a system.out.println. I'm just going to abbreviate for the sake of time and space. And then I have to open my bracket for my parameter there, but I'm going to open now a new bracket to call word of the day. And for my P, I want substring. Sorry, ignore that. Got ahead of myself. 3, comma 4, and that's going to give me my 3. Now notice I opened a parenthesis here. I have an open and a close there. I need to close I didn't. I want to close that one. So let me use my highlighter so you can kind of see what I did. This open parenthesis goes with that close parenthesis. And if I have another highlighter, I can kind of make it maybe a little bit plainer here. These two go together. Now what goes with that other one would be the end of my program statement. But I want to concatenate together. This is going to give me, remember, my P. I want to concatenate now and call word of the day again, and I'll just abbreviate this time. Word of the day dot substring. And I want to just grab that 11 and I've got to close it out. That closes this one. I still need to come back and close my whole program statement. So if I make that one really big, you might can tell. And you'll figure out the syntax as you work through the code. So since this is a long 13-letter word, I can make many other words from it. And with those, I can really emphasize the use of the substring method. So let me switch back. I'm going to show you my code and hopefully inspire you to do your own little word in a word activity. Here's my code. You can pause the video and look at it. I've made the word pal and call and map. I'd like to inspire you to make other words and harder words, like the word Atlanta, especially if you go back and look how to make a capital A here. That's beyond the subset, but it's something really useful to know. Atomic, opinion, topic, and my challenge to you is to declare a string of your whole name and see how many words you can make using substring from the characters in your name. Today we emphasize the use of the string methods that return strings. Those would be substring and its overloaded brother sister, and using string to pull out just one index, and continued using the constructor. Thank you for watching 2.7. Join me in the next video where we look at the rest of the string methods from the JQR.